Mother speaks. I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother Mary. Well, welcome to Great Mother Speaks. I'm Tammy Taylor, your manifestation muse, and today we're talking about...
Hello, Pisces Moon people. Welcome to your Lunar New Year reading. This is a very important, unique, exciting, informative, transformative reading because it's probably something you haven't heard about before, and that is there is a new year for your moon sign. The sun is in Pisces, and when the sun and the moon are in the same sign once a year, that is the new moon phase. But here at Great Mother Speaks, you may have noticed we go a little bit deeper into the phases and working with the exact energy that's active at the time. For example, now we have the full moon readings for March up. We don't call them by the zodiac name because we just work with the energies. And the energies that are active are Leo energies in the tropical and in the sidereal. Although it is a cusp new moon in Leo Virgo. We don't really mention Virgo because the energies emotionally, intuitively, and that inner space that Great Mother works with us from is active in Leo at this time. And what's active at this time for you and your celestial collective unconsciousness, I'm so excited because Great Mother has really been speaking to you since this channel started, and this is your Lunar New Year. The Lunar New Year is just like any new moon, but it's your new moon. All zodiac signs have one new moon a year, and this is your new moon. Yes, it was on the cusp of Aquarius Pisces, but again, that past new moon in February was on the cusp. The energies weren't quite underway, and the sun, February 15th, was not in Pisces at that time. It didn't come into Pisces until the 18th. So we're doing the reading now, for example, because now the sun is in Pisces and the moon will be in Pisces with the sun from the 15th into the 17th of March, which is when these energies will culminate for you. Great Mother, Father God will be getting it on in that new moon energy, and that will be the precise timing of this energy for you, this new moon in Pisces. It is a very important time, and what we mean by Great Mother, Father God getting it on, it is that insemination phase that happens every year. When the child Earth is here, Great Mother is here, Moon, and Great Father God, Sun is here, and they're close together. That's why we can't see any sunlight in the new moon, because the moon blocks out the sun. They are making love. They are regenerating and recreating in whatever zodiac sign they're in. And now they are in Pisces. And as she moves around the earth for the remainder of the year, each time she's in your sign, she will be actually moving in a precessional pattern. Precession means that she will be going backwards in the lunar phases. Typically in the lunar phases, we move from our new moon period, which is the beginning where we make plans, where we're thinking about the future, into the crescent where we're planting seeds and we're actually beginning to nurture and support our new thoughts. We have our first quarter moon, which is the action that we take, and we go into the waxing gibbous moon, which is the revising, evaluating, developing our new thoughts into something new. We might be editing what we thought we wanted to act upon so we get it just right before that full moon illumination, that full moon where we are actually ripe with that illumination, ripe with that clarity that we've planted. And then we go into the waning season of sharing from that illumination, of squeezing from that illumination what is really useful going forward, and that third quarter moon, that letting go and that release, into that balsamic moon where we again kind of rest and recuperate, gather ourselves and recreate for the next lunar season. That is what we typically look at. But with our Lunar New Year in the precessional phases, what's very important is that our sidereal astrology, if you're new to this channel, we work with Western and sidereal astrology. Western is the earth-centric, the egocentric astrology, where you are finding yourself here now, perhaps, with a Pisces moon. But I encourage you to look at the links below to double check about your sidereal moon sign, because that's the soul astrology, to see what resonates with you most. Most of you will find that your moon sign in the sidereal is in Aquarius. Aquarius had their Lunar New Year just last month. And so I would encourage you to look at both, double check to make sure what your lunar sign is in the sidereal, because it may be in Pisces as well. Now, with precession in a new year, we go backwards. That is what precession means. So we start with the new moon energy and we go balsamic, because next month Pisces will be in a balsamic moon. It won't be in a new moon. The month after that, it will be in a slightly balsamic, slightly third quarter moon. And the month after that, third quarter moon, slightly balsamic, more third quarter. And the month after that, a strong balsamic moon, a strong third quarter moon, etc., 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 moving backwards into the crescent phase, where it will be planting something new right before the new moon next year. We'll get more into detail about that, because that is the crux of ego-soul communication that we talk about here. Right now, we find that with the past new moon in Aquarius in your sidereal soul sign, that the ego soul at this Lunar New Year are communicating. So we have a meeting of the minds every year for you between February and March. The astrology is matching up and is crossing boundaries. That's why we double check with these signs to see, because there's 24-degree difference. Okay, there's a precessional energy with sidereal astrology that aligns with lunar astrology more accurately. That's why it's a soul astrology. It's more of a lunar astrology. Solar astrology or earth-oriented astrology is more of an egocentric. It's more about the physical experience, much like our solar new year, which is your sun sign birthday, which is all about where you are projecting towards your future and releasing the past. A new life, a new body, a new regeneration, a new mind. Whereas the Lunar New Year is looking at where we are now, and it's reflecting on the past to let go of the past so that you can prune and be more clear, receive the clarification, balance, and confirmation you need to release what no longer serves you in the present. In this reading, we're going to look at how all this works for you this year. We're going to look at your first quarter, your second quarter, your third, and your fourth quarter of the year to see what Great Mother is sharing with you with regard to how these energies are going to unfold. What type of reflection and manifestation is coming through for you in your ego-soul communication. Specifically, what your soul is sharing with you at any particular time. You know, sometimes it can be really challenging, very difficult, can it, to decipher the difference between our intuition, what our soul is saying, kind of what our mind is saying, what our, repetitive pattern thoughts are, as opposed to what's really coming from our higher self. Well, these readings really help with that. And if you have specific questions, I do encourage a personal reading, because these moon readings are the basis of the work I do with individuals in supporting the healing of mama drama trauma. It is an internal journey to heal any type of trauma, and these moon readings, as well as the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, based on the 49 scenes of the Wizard of Oz, emerged. Now, I have found that this deck is useful for all types of situations in which anyone who is empathic, highly sensitive, or intuitive needs to have that clarification, balance, and confirmation from Great Mother about their intuition as they develop it. It takes a while to develop the clarity that we need to actually trust it. And why most people who have mama drama trauma tend to be particularly sensitive and intuitive, it is something that we had to be in order to survive. And it is exactly the skill set that we use to heal the trauma. So, with no further ado, Great Mother is coming through for you, Pisces Moon people, and she's talking about how you are approaching your Pisces Lunar New Year. You are approaching this now until about May. That's that first quarter season with this new moon to going back to the balsamic phase that really is talking about that period of download, of recuperation. And so between now and May, there's a period, there's a phase of, even though it's the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, you may kind of be feeling a little exhausted from the past year and the beginning of this year, and just really kind of just wanting to chill and reflect and recreate and recreate for a while to recuperate from all of the energy that you've expended. Remember that even though we are in an ecliptical season with Leo in the North Node, Aquarius and South Node, Cancer and Rahu, and Capricorn and Ketu in the Sidereal, last year in the Western, Pisces was in the South Node. So that was a highly energized period for you in which you were facilitating the release of Piscean energies that no longer serve the collective. So in your celestial collective unconscious, that inspirational source, that still small voice, that intuitive soulful sense, now until May, you are really downloading a clear sense of your inner wisdom. All of this internal work that you've been doing has really brought you to a place of confidence. It has really brought you to a place of clarity. It's brought you to a place of a crossroads where you realize that now, after all you've been through, after all you've seen, after all the experiences that you've had, and trying to reground yourself and trying to course correct from following what is really important to you, following your heart, which is what this ecliptical season is all about, that started in May. Following our heart and releasing over concern about the group. That's been very difficult for you, Pisces, and there have been several readings in which Great Mother has come through very strongly to encourage you. And so from now until May, you have arrived finally at a point where you are trusting that inner wisdom. You are arriving at a point where you understand the value of the journey, and you're willing to allow yourself to take any path. However, that has been encouraged and that is being encouraged by the assistance of others. As we see here with this scene in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy meets the Scarecrow and she asks him which way to go. This is a new moon heart chakra card, and when she's asking him which way to go, he replies, any way you go is fine, it doesn't matter. New moon energy again. So you're starting off very much aligned with this new moon energy, Pisces moon people, and you're very much aligned with following your heart at this time. That's how we know that with this card. And you're very much aligned with now really trusting and receiving the intuitive help that you have from the Aquarius nature that is now in the South Node in the Western, and you know that now it is time to release an over-reliance on trying to people please, trying to innovate for the sake of innovation, to shock for the sake of shock and awe, but really bringing it in and following the path that really has meaning for you in your heart. You know what to do. You're trusting yourself to know what to do. And so we have here, you know, the new moon that's going around here, and we have approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 phases, and the Great Mother speaks that we have 8 lunar phases as well. But when you're actually working in the 12-month period, you have those phases broken down into even finer gradations. And so from this new moon period that opened right up for you with this new moon Sophia card, Pisces moon people, you're going to move into this balsamic phase. And so that is going to start happening between June and August. So between June and August, this recreating is really going to allow you to plant a new seed in terms of what your desires really are, getting really clear about what it is that you really want to happen for you this lunar season based on where you've come from and where you've been. It's not, again, an active period of deciding what you desire, but really there will be some things that will encourage you to get very clear about what those things are. I've mentioned several months now as we have moved through the reading thus far, with your first card being between now and May. Remember your new moon wishes. Your new moon is a time of ritual in which you align with the energy of the moon at that particular time. And so, since we've already had the Aquarius Pisces new moon, this new moon that is coming up in Aries, you want to align your wishes with this balsamic moon energy that's getting clear about your desires with Aries types of issues having to do with leadership, having to do with your true identity and being true to yourself and being true to who you identify with in terms of who you see yourself as, to yourself, not to the world, but who you see yourself to be. Who do you see yourself to be as an individual? I am fill in the blank. I am a healer. I am a teacher. I am a writer. I am a speaker. I am a technological creator. Fill in the blank. This new moon, March 15th, when we're moving into the spring equinox, March 20th. This is a very profound time for you because the sun and the moon is in Pisces until the 17th. And so you still are able to garner the energy from Pisces desires. And so in your heart, that will be sufficient to put those out. But be prepared with this Aries new moon on the 17th to actually assert desires going forward that you want to have in your heart intuitively. And what Great Mother is saying is that on a soul level, on a balsamic moon level, peeling those layers back in precession, you're going to be really meditating on how you have been feeling victimized by this process. This process, again, has been very arduous for Pisces moon people. And so maybe you feel that for those of you who have done a lot of work, that it has required so much of you, and you are so tired that you don't know what's coming. And you kind of resent that. You know, you wish that you knew how things were going, and it's springtime and you want to have that Aries outer energy of creating something physically in the outer world, but all this internal work that needs to be done. Oh my goodness. And we can see that with the Sedna card. The Sedna card is a crescent moon card, and that comes right after the full moon, which is interesting. And so that's what shows us that you do want to have that outer expression as opposed to that inner expression of that balsamic, the opposite phase of the crescent. And Sedna is the scene in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy runs away and she meets Professor Marvel in his camp, and he's telling her, and she's telling him what happened and why she feels that, you know, she needs to run away, and he interrupts her and tells her, he's telling her who she is, basically. Professor Marvel is telling Dorothy who she is in the Sedna card, and this has to do with again, feeling victimized and feeling like the energies are controlling you, as opposed to you taking charge of the energies and taking advantage of the new moon / balsamic energies that are allowing you to just kind of marinate on what's happened. Dorothy didn't need him to confirm for her why she had run away. You know, she was very clear that they were trying to take Toto and she needed to get away from there. And the Great Mother speaks that Dorothy symbolizes intuition. And so we protect our intuition. And so those of us who have suffered mama drama trauma, that is how we have survived, by trusting our intuition. And it threatens others. We are often told that what we are saying and what we are thinking and things that we're seeing are not true and that we are wrong. But as long as we hold on to that intuition, we can see ourselves through. But what happens is that over a period of time, it creates a great deal of resentment because we never do get the confirmation that we need. And really, that is what Professor Marvel provides Dorothy when she meets up with him at his camp at the side of the road. He does give her that confirmation. And what Great Mother is saying to you is that between June and August, you were going to feel like, as you were resting and recuperating and unraveling the whole of this seed. Okay, remember, normally when we go through the lunar cycles, we are going to the crescent moon after the new moon, and we're building up to a waxing moon phase. With your Lunar New Year, we are peeling back the skin and the hole around that seed, that hardened seed shell, and we're getting down to the source center, to the energy of that seed and what that seed means to us in our lives. And what she's saying is that at this particular phase, it's important that you realize you don't need anyone to co-sign for you, Pisces moon people. You have been on the journey long enough to know that your wisdom is worthy to be trusted, that your insights about which direction to take have delivered you where you are and will take you where you need to go, just as the scarecrow, who symbolizes the brain, the mind, is telling Dorothy. Trust your mind. Don't be gaslighted about your situation, Pisces moon people. Don't allow this year, with these particular transits that are occurring. Every Lunar New Year may happen in March for Pisces moon people. February, March area, again, Great Mother Earth energies are very mutable, just as the Pisces sign is the mutable water sign. And so we can't give exact dates every year, but it is around this period of the year, but it's always unique because the planets are always in completely different areas and completely different transits. Neptune has been in your sign in the Western for a good several months by now. And so your ruling planet has been really pulling up a lot of emotions for you. And so that would explain why you are going through the gamut of emotions at this time. But Great Mother is saying that just because that's coming up for you doesn't mean that this is about self-doubt. This means that this is about that unraveling of the whole around that seed of doubt, to really look at it and say, hey, this is what's happening energetically. I am feeling that I need some co-signing, when in actuality, what my soul, what I'm intuiting from my soul, that Aquarius energy, which is in South Node, is saying, release that. That's not serving me. What is serving me is for me to create what I want. That's that Aquarius innovation. That's that Aquarius genius energy. That's that soul energy, that download from your sidereal aspect. Okay? And so these first 6 months of your new lunar year are telling us that there is a great wisdom that you have garnered, and that since this new eclipse season, as it has moved away from the Pisces and the South Node into Aquarius South Node, you are downloading a lot from your soul as it is releasing a lot from that Aquarius energy. Now, Aquarius energy is in the tropical, the Western astrology, and so it's more emotional. That's why that's the emotion of victimhood. Again, the sidereal, the South Node, is in Capricorn. For you, this Capricorn energy, which is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is in Capricorn right now, is 11th house energy, and so that's relationship to the public. In the sidereal, Saturn is in Sagittarius, and so that's 10th house energy. That's wish fulfillment. And so you may be feeling some restrictions intuitively around being around people who are different from you. that feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Your new philosophies are changing, and so you're trying to find your footing. And so let's look at what continues to unravel in this seed, and as we move into the center source of the intuitive energy that's inspiring your actions for 2018, 2019. We're looking now at your third quarter between September and November. Now, between September and November, you are in the new waxing gibbous phase, and you are going into the first quarter phase. And so waxing gibbous is having to do with refining, editing, revising from this victimhood, okay, to being able to go into that first quarter of making a decision. So as you revise, as you refine, as you reevaluate, and as it says here, you develop your new means. You are evaluating your new way of approaching things as a result of working through this victimhood and asserting your soul ambition to create what you want. Great Mother is saying, don't overlook the fact that your life is about enjoying yourself. Enjoy yourself, Pisces moon people. The Hattar card is the pleasure principle card. It is a new moon card. So she's really coming through for you. And she's saying, happy Lunar New Year with these new moon cards. Hattar is about asking ourselves, are we pursuing something out of fear? Or are we pursuing something because we're following our bliss? And so by the time you get into your September, November, your fall season, you're going to have generated some understanding around what really needs to be taken on board as a result of releasing this victimhood. Okay, you've come to the new moon balsamic download into the release phase of this victimhood in your mid-year period of June to August. By September, you're ready to rock and roll, September moon people. September moon people, Pisces moon people. That September new moon is going to be in Virgo, which is your opposing sign. And that energy is very supportive of you shifting into a new direction. Great Mother just wants you to be clear why you're going in that new direction by that time. And so hopefully you will have been through your readings and through your own intuitive work that you're doing, done your work to release this victimhood, this feeling of not having what you want, not being understood, and relying on others to confirm that as opposed to you knowing for yourself, to this place where by September you are no longer running away from a situation that doesn't serve you out of fear, but you are running toward what does serve you out of bliss. You're like, this is where I want to go. This is the new moon card. This is the second chakra. The Ankh symbolizes the second chakra in the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. This is when Dorothy leaves the farm and she's on that dirt road and she's crossing the bridge from the little farm to Professor Marvel's camp. And so crossing the bridge between September and November, Pisces moon people, it'll be like water under the bridge. This situation. It'll be water under the bridge. Having done your intuitive work, having looked at your first and second quarter moon readings, your second quarter readings, your April to May readings, okay, which is what this card represents, will be going up pretty soon for April. The first quarter reading between January and March is already up, so you can actually look at how this came about. this inner wisdom, but you're going to be having a lot of support throughout the year. That's what these readings, they build on one another, just as the moon phases build on one another. That's how these lunar readings work, and that's how the lunar energies work, and working with those new moon wishes. A really good book that I recommend for new moon wishes is New Moon Astrology. New Moon Astrology, this book by Jan Spiller, is excellent for you working out your new moon wishes, your moon sign, your nodal signs. When you get your moon reading from greatmotherspeaks.info/bookings, online bookings, you will have a moon sign that is going to do this personally for you. These general readings are based on the collective celestial consciousness of Pisces moon sign, and you are a part of that group. But you also have your own unique house. This is first house orientation. Your moon sign in Pisces might be in your third house. It might be in your ninth house, which would completely change the flavor of this reading, as well as where your unique north node is. Your north node might be in Aquarius, and your south node might be in Leo. Okay, as opposed to the north being in Leo, now in the south in Aquarius. And so you can see how those energies would shift and the interpretations would shift for you. But each new moon season has a new zodiac sign, as we're about to move into Aries from Pisces now. And those Aries new moon wishes, she has wonderful wishes for you to assert and for you to work with, and how you work with those and that type of thing, and throughout the year. So when the Virgo new moon comes up and you're working with, okay, so I am shifting and I do feel this energetically within myself, because you will. Am I, and again, testing this intuition. That's why these readings are so transformative. They're so useful. It's because we are developing our keen senses of clarity, balance, and confirmation of our intuition. There's a difference between our emotion and intuition. Emotion is how the ego communicates to the soul. The soul communicates to the ego through intuition, and we have to develop that muscle. Okay, and so these readings and paying attention and doing your monthly wishes and paying attention to how they unfold, what does not unfold, looking at perhaps why, because the new moon and full moon readings here at Great Mother Speaks are focusing on the energies that are supportive for you to feel love, to feel your divinity as a child of the Great Mother Father God, to feel that you are never judged and condemned, to actually feel the love and support around you. Again, the planetary placements and transits are unique every single day, which is why not every Cancer moon sign is the same. We have different nakshatras and everything that govern what happens, and the nakshatras are energies that go into the 2 and the 2.5 day period of the Pisces. Okay, every sign, moon is in every sign for every 2.5 days, and in the Sidereal, that's broken down. That energy 2.5 days has 3 different energies called nakshatras, and then there are 4 energies within that called padas. So we look at that in your moon readings, and so this is a general overall, and generally overall by the fall, this is your intuitive question. You will be back at that new moon question now about your inner wisdom, but it won't be a general question about inner wisdom. In fact, now you are receiving a confirmation to trust your inner wisdom. We know it's a return because it's the new moon card to that inner wisdom, to refortifying it, because by that time it's going to be first quarter moon energy, acting, making choices, facing the challenge of staying with that inner wisdom, so that you can know the difference between whether you are making shifts in your life as a result of fear or pleasure. This year, what Great Mother is saying for you, this Lunar New Year 2018-2019 for you Pisces moon people, has to do with boundaries. So you are in the process of this year of creating boundaries. Another new moon card. She is coming through so strongly for you to really emphasize the importance of this Lunar New Year for you. Durga is the Hindu goddess of boundaries, and they are defended very fiercely in order for there to be clarification and contrast between what is right and what is not right, what is okay and what is not okay. This is the scene in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy crosses the threshold from the farmhouse in the Twister Dream into Munchkin Land. That's what you're doing this year. That's what Great Mother says you're doing this year. You're crossing from the twister dream that this last 2 years has been for you into Munchkin land, into a whole new world, into a Technicolor world. So this is the prelude for you into the new rainbow world for you. And so this is a gut chakra card. And so you are using that Piscean energy to further trust your intuitive knowledge, your inner wisdom, that heart chakra that this new moon is emphasizing and further exploring with the pleasure this fall. And overall, what Great Mother is saying this year as it closes out, which will become more clear to you between November and January, being all about boundaries and trusting your inner wisdom, trusting the fact that you don't need anyone to co-sign for you. You know within yourself what is right, what is wrong, what is okay, what is not okay for you. And of course, Dorothy crossed that threshold from the twister dream because Great Mother was not ready for her to return back to the farm. She ran away and went to Professor Marvel, and he made her feel guilty about running away, remember? And then she said, oh, let me go home. Aunt Em misses me. And Great Mother said, not yet. Not yet, sweetheart. Not yet. You still have some inner work to do. That's what I am. I'm an inner work life coach. And so this is inner work. And so you are unfolding the hull of that skin of the seed that you planted last year. And so we do that from the time that we're born. If you have the time of your birth date, you already know your moon sign, you can Google the actual phase of the moon when you were born. Just put in the date, put in moon phase, and your moon phase may be a full moon when you were born. The moon may have been a full moon. And so for a baby with a Pisces moon born in 2018, the full moon is on August 26th, for example. Okay? And so that would be a harbinger of very strong water cardinal energies as it relates to this reading. It would be an indication of someone who is very, very oriented toward being clear about how to use that strong water energy, because they would be Virgo sun in the Western. So I can't emphasize the importance of further clarity with more coaching or with a personal reading in order to get into really what this unraveling of the seed is for you. Because for your collective celestial unconsciousness, Great Mother is saying that the shadows have to do with a resistance to unfurling the seed. This past 2 years has been very challenging, and you're looking at this like, yeah, victimhood. You're looking at it like, what's she saying? We got to do what? More inner work? And that's what Great Mother's coming through with the Dagna card to say. This is the double yin card. The law cards are Great Father cards. This is the law of Divine Mother. So the law of Divine Mother, Great Mother energy, is intuitive energy. And so this is in the position of the shadow for this Lunar New Year for you, Pisces Moon people. And so that means that there is a need for very deep listening to Great Mother. Aren't you glad that you are watching this video? Because this does give you enough information for you to surmise exactly how these energies are coming forward for you. Because what Great Mother is saying is that you are working with these energies in a way in which you are not quite clear at this time about your assessment of who you are. This is the awakening card. When Glinda descends from the sky in the purple ball in Munchkin Land as soon as Dorothy arrives. So you have bam, 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 you know, these cards coming in order, don't you? This is when she crosses the threshold into Munchkin Land, and immediately afterwards, okay, so this is the new moon, and this is the crescent moon card in the gut chakra. Trusting your gut about your boundaries, trusting your gut about who you are, because that's what Glinda the Good Witch, who symbolizes Great Mother, asked Dorothy, "And who are you?" The Munchkins want to know. "Are you a good witch or a bad witch?" To which Dorothy replies, "I'm not a witch at all. I'm Dorothy from Kansas." So she's not clear about who she is at that point. Of course, a bad witch is someone who uses her power. In Pisces, you have tremendous water, intuitional, emotional powers that if you do not take charge of, if you do not unfurl the hard hull of the world that you have to protect it. When we're empathic, when we're highly sensitive, when we are very intuitive people, the one or two things happens. Okay, we develop it usually out of a very traumatic situation, or we're simply born with it. Okay, and in my experience, it's developed through traumatic situations. That is how the muscle is developed to survive. And either you learn to work with the energy in a way that benefits you, because someone who also has those abilities has spotted you as a child, maybe a grandmother, maybe a neighbor or somebody, and it's helped you cultivate it and pay attention a little bit more. People are born into these families of mediumship and that sort of thing, and they're trained, okay? And so that's very auspicious, that's great. But for the majority of people who are born with this, we don't get that. And we stumble around. And part of that stumbling around, a big part of that stumbling around, is making a whole lot of mistakes that end up hurting us and hurting other people, because we don't know how to work with the energy. We don't know how to work with the power. We see things and we know things, but because we're still wounded, we don't know how to use that insight in a way that is beneficial to ourselves and others. For example, we might know that, someone we're in a relationship with is having a lot of problems with a particular addiction or something like that. But instead of asserting our boundaries and saying, this isn't happening, this isn't going to work, because we're wounded, we probably grew up in a situation like that. So that's normal for us. It's perpetuated. And that's why mama drama, trauma, and mini traumas are cyclicals. They call them family pathologies, biblical terms, family curses, and all that kind of stuff, because it continues without awareness. And so that's why Great Mother's coming through. She's coming through to assist us with awareness. And many people are talking about Great Mother energy is all about, woman, hear me roar, and all this kind of stuff. And okay, yeah, that's the Great Father aspect of it, but the deep aspect of it, which is where Pisces moon people are, and which is why Great Mother is really wanting to connect with you. And if you've heard readings from her in the last 6 months with you, she's really been wanting to connect with you, because this is the source of the power, this is the source of the seed, this is the source of the intuitive insight. You're dancing with that power. You don't know whether it is, I'm using this power to control people and control readings and to control whatever, or I'm a good witch and I use these readings, I use my ability, I use my intuition, I use my sensitivity to heal in accordance to what Great Mother Father God has for me or has instructed me to do. Okay. Just like Jesus told the disciples, there are three basic things. He told them to proclaim spiritual freedom to those in the bondage of fear, proclaim joy to those who are in, the bondage of, proclaim joy to those who are in the bondage of, I forget what the second one was, but it's proclaim spiritual freedom, proclaim joy, and heal in accordance to the Father's will. And that's how we know the difference between what's good and what's not good. And another way that we know that's above all ways is to trust your gut. And that's a gut chakra card. What is your gut telling you? Is your gut telling you that, this power, this intuitive power coursing through your veins, through your mind, through your soul, is helping you or is hurting you? You don't know what to do with it. What is it telling you? And it's important to tell yourself the truth when you're working with shadow energy, because Great Mother is there in the shadows. That's why a Lunar New Year is all about the shadows. We go back into it. You get deeper and you get deeper and you get deeper into it so that we can uproot that within us that is not serving us going forward with our true intuitive power. We all also that signs have intuitive power, but particularly with Pisces, Great Mother is coming through with these transits during this eclipse season to really, really emphasize that for you. She's saying to release anything that opposes the reality of your freedom, of your emancipation. You are already at home, as indicated by the Inner Wisdom card from now into May. You're going to come full circle with this, but it's going to be a journey for you. And she's saying what's going to assist you with this journey throughout the year, Pisces Moon people, is to remember whenever doubts come up, the wishes that you make them in alignment with your strength, not your weakness, with knowing that you are good, not that you are using these powers against you, even if that was the way you were taught to use the powers, was to manipulate. She's saying emancipate yourself from that, as we see in the final scene when Dorothy returns home with Toto in the balsamic moon phase card, the download phase. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. And that's what we get to through the lunar cycle of our year, and by the end of the year, where we hope to truly be. And what's going to facilitate that for you, Pisces Moon people, is that consistent, persistent, determined download of what Great Mother is saying and sharing with you. Adi Shakti is the Hindu primordial mother goddess, which is an indication of that first source and center, the black hole. Saturn was in Sagittarius, where that has been located in the cosmos for, about 18 months before it moved into Capricorn back in December. And now it's in Sagittarius in the Sidereal. So we have this very strong, learn your lessons, do what you need to do with this Great Mother energy going on right now. And for you, it's a very powerful download period. And that's why for you, for the next several months until May into June, that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be aligning with that inner wisdom. You're going to really be getting in touch with that, because for you, that 10th house energy has to do with the wish fulfillment as you go forward. Remember, this Adi Shakti, the Ankh symbol, is the second chakra in the Great Mother Speaks card. And so you had that with this, and you had that with Hathor. And so a lot for you this year has to do with your personal desires. And so that might be a frustration for you, because it's going to be such a strong internal energy that you may not be feeling manifested in your outer world. That's because you're still in kind of a dream state type of a situation, Pisces Moon people. And that's very familiar for you. But you are indicating that you're ready to move. You're ready to go on the yellow brick road. And that might be a little frustrating for you. And that's why the shadow is, it's time for you to do your download intuitive work. And that is what's going to facilitate your freedom, your emancipation from feeling blocked, from feeling like you're unable to move forward. This is the twister dream. When she returns home to the farm and Great Mother diverts her path from being reunited with Aunt Em and Uncle Henry so that she can go on her yellow brick road journey. This is a yellow brick road journey for you, 2019 to your next Lunar New Year, Pisces Moon people, to unravel into the source of your seed, the life source of your intuition, to get really, really clear about why you are going where you're going in the next couple of years. You need clarity about that. You need clarity because it's going to allow you to have the motivation and the attitude of enthusiasm to meet the challenges in Munchkin Land that you'll meet. There'll be some strangeness. There'll be some things that will be granted to you in terms of gifts and abilities. And, the ruby red slippers were given to her, and there were going to be some things given to you. And you are preparing for this, just as in the dream, the Twister dream, there were some images that came to Dorothy that were in preparation for her journey. You may recall that Miss Gulch, who came to take Toto, morphed from, riding the bicycle into the witch, and so there are some things that are going to be downloaded to you that you're going to get clearer about, that are going to be transformed into from fears into actual bliss in your life. And the final outcome for you for this 2018-2019 new lunar year is going to be a realization, a full moon realization, that all is well. All is well. Just like the realization that Dorothy came to by the time she returned home. This unfolding. Okay, and so the full moon for you, the Pisces full moon, is August 26th. And so it's really quite possible that although the August 26th is about the question of, are you running away from fear or following your bliss, it could also be a tremendous opportunity, because we do have our final solar eclipse in August. We'll have to stay tuned to what Great Mother speaks during that time about your reading. It will be an opportunity for you to gain a lot of clarity about where your requests are coming from, your prayers, your new moon wishes. What's the source of those wishes? Are they out of fear? That you feel, around August, which the new moon for August would be, again, that Virgo energy, you need to have confirmation about your health. You need to have confirmation about your choices in daily life. You need to have confirmation, or that you are moving beyond that to a more specified, a higher request that would have to do about what you want in your daily life, how you want your health to be, how you want to amp up your clarity and your detail orientation to fulfill a particular blissful ambition that you have. It's always a yin yang, isn't it? It's always a choice. And so that's what Great Mother is presenting to you, are the spectrum alliances of Great Mother Father energies that are available to you throughout this Lunar New Year to get the clarity, balance, and confirmation you need to release anything that makes you feel any less than the free and dearly loved child of the Great Mother Father God that you are. These readings are designed for you to have what you need in order to connect more clearly with your intuition. Again, that Aquarius Lunar New Year video would be very useful for most of you, and for others it may be the Aries that will be coming up in just a few weeks after we get loaded with the second quarter readings and the new moon readings in Aries. Thank you so much for watching again, and remember, as always, Great Mother loves you. And I do too.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole.